Brothers and brothers, Trinidad, we back out here on another mighty Sabbath day to preach the word of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Before we start, I'd like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai for his mercies, his truth, and endurance, right? And once again, for him letting us being able to see another year, because we know once again this is Passover season. And around Passover season, you have a lot of spirits going on. Right? You have a lot of wickedness in high places. You have a lot of things that not the average eye could see. So we like to talk about getting your loins girded, right? You have to protect yourself. You have to make sure that you're ready to get out of here. Because what does it mean by a girdle? Because you see that word in the scriptures. What does it mean by your loins? Your loins have to have one, right? Now when I go into it, the loins basically means your waist, right? And the girdle, it basically going into a type of belt, right? Something you wrap around your waist so that your garments don't be all over the place, right? And we want to talk about spiritually, right? You getting that girdle, because right now it's Passover time, and if your loins aren't good, aren't with a girdle, you'll fall, right? We'll get a quick precept. Let me go to the book of Ephesians, the 6th chapter, because you have to put on entire armor of the Lord, right? So this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, right? So up here. Right? This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, right? And verse 12. So it says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness," right? In high places. Excuse bro, I can get a flyer?
Yeah, no problem.
I can get a flyer? And then I have a child, but I can get just a minute at a time explaining what this flyer is about.
I will understand it.
You understand it, you sure?
Yeah, I will understand
Now
it.
it's just a minute and it's for the word of the Lord,
Yeah, but I tell you I will understand it because I am Christian.
You're a Christian, but this isn't about being a Christian. It's about who it is according to the Bible, It's about who it is according to the Bible,
Yes.
I say no, it's not about being a Christian. It's about who it is according to the Bible.
Yeah, well, yes, because although you say that Christian, we have to do, we have to make sure you are the Holy Spirit in you.
All right, just a minute at a time, just to explain it. Just to explain what it is. Just a minute. You can't run from me, right? So the flyer is about who you is. If you wanna just come over here so I can angle myself, right? So the flyer is about who you is according to the Bible, right? Now, once again, what type of people that would call me, you, your little son and thing? What type of people that would say? They would call us, so-called blacks, Negroes, and all that thing, right? All kind of thing, right? But at the end of the day, right? What she call my Bible, right? And what she call your skin? You really as black as this Bible?
You are black as this Bible.
No, you're not as black as the Bible, but you're a different shade of brown,
Right?
So, yeah. So at the end of the day, a color can't be a heritage. I can't find father black. I can't find father white, right? But I could find father Chinese, and I could buy a ticket to go to the land of China.
Right.
I could go and buy a ticket to the land of India, right? But I can't go and buy a ticket to the land of black, right? No, according to the Bible, right? We see who is according to the Bible, right? Now, you ever hear about the children of Israel?
Yeah.
Right. You say as a Christian, you ever see an Israelite, or you ever interview an Israelite or anything, and
No, I never interviewed an Israelite. I never see an Israelite.
well, yeah, and imagine the Bible saying that the Israelites here and the Israelites on the sand of the sea, but what it is today, which part it is today?
With them, they see the thing is this. All nations, the 12 tribes, the two were separate from 10, all them are coming together, but they have to accept who Christ is, and that will deny Christ when it comes to them. So I talked to a Jew already from Jewish country, went to visit there, and he showed me like this plain. He said, we, right? And just as they say every color, he said that Christ color.
That's Christ color.
Yeah.
Well, here is, that the Jews that in so-called Israel are the real Jews.
Yeah,
right?
I know that.
Because, you know, Israel's a rather obedient or disobedient nation.
So true, yeah.
They're rather disobedient, right?
Mm.
And God said what going to happen to them in the book of Deuteronomy 28 if they don't listen, right?
Yeah.
So once again, I ain't taking up much of your time because, you know, I say with your little son and, you know. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15, right? So it says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments, right, this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And a curse is not a good thing, right?
No.
A curse is a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
So God said that these curses would affect one race of people, right? And we would see who are these people, right? And we see if these so-called Jews in wherever Israel, right? Afghanistan, right? So it says, curse shall thou be in the city, and curse shall thou be in the field. Let me ask you this: what's the lowest part of a city in terms of infrastructure and all these places? You know, like for example, you know, the high places at Trinidad is like you know, Westmoreland and all these other places. And what's some low places in Trinidad?
Low places like let me say like Bitam, all them places where they come, high places, right? Bitam, let me say Mova, the come more the places like that, like we say, like Westmoreland, we call the places in Saudi, all them big name, we have them.
Yeah, all them big name and right? But I have a question, right? What type of people makes up this place on a majority?
Well, it comes like the people make other places, people like we don't call them.
Well, in other words, it's so-called black people, right?
So-called, you know,
even in Brooklyn, right? You ever travel out in the States? Well, in Brooklyn and all these other places and all these other hoods all over the face of the earth, we make up majority of the hoods. We make up majority of the ghettos and the slums and all these other things. And our next level too, come into society, we make up at the end of the day the lower class too, right? Because I tell you, I can't go and get a loan in a bank compared to a fair-skinned man in Westmoreland. He just had to come and sign our documents, but we had to get uncle, this, that, everything. Right? Everything, right? And I just want to understand how this happens on our majority to one race of people, right? And it says, cursed shall thou be in the field. Who was cursed to labor in the field? No income, right? You're planting every day, but the crops is not yours. Who was cursed to do these things? People like us, right? And that's one more. Don't worry. He coming. They can try. Alright, so this is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54. So it says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the remnant, and towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children which he shall leave. Now, out of everybody in the face side earth, who does pull on their brother the most? Well, us we does pull on each other the most, right? Imagine I see you with your nice shoes and things, like all in Trinidad wasn't a problem in Trinidad requirement. And we is the only people on a majority who loves to see people thing and, you know, just take, right? And single parent household. Who's single parent household high? Well, us, right? And one more, right? So it says, Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Right? Who, on how we forefathers get here, the ancestors? By slavery. By ships, right?
Ships,
and no other nations went through this. And this Bible say that this will happen to the Israelites. Show me where the so-called Ashkenaz man or the so-called Caucasian man who came to Israel. Show me when they went through a punishment on ships. They never went through a punishment on ships, right? Now, in regards to you saying that, you know, you're a Christian, right? And, you know, I'll tell you this, right? Back then, when Christ was on the earth, what religion he was serving?
Christ?
Yeah, was he Adventist? Was he a Baptist? No. Right, he wasn't none of that, right?
He come to lead us.
Right, he come to lead us, right? And it's one Bible, one book, but yet we get a whole set of division and we get a whole set of separation and all these other things.
Yeah.
So I just here to show you that religion really brings separation.
Separation, yeah,
right?
I know that.
Because at the end of the day, in the end, you're not saying, well, alright, well, the Adventists gonna make it,
Yeah,
the Baptists gonna make it.
Oh yeah, I understand this.
Make it, right? And he was prophesied that he would be serving other gods, right?
Yeah.
So this is Deuteronomy 28 and verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. A common wood religion that everybody worships, and I sorry to say is Christianity.
Yeah, no, but the truth
Right?
is saying, that's why I want to tell you something here. What you mean? What is really the truth?
What is really the truth?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. All commandments of the Lord and the ways of Him is truth. And that is what we have to do. Right? And
right. He say you have to abide in me as I abide in Him. I want to abide in you. Like it's John 15.
Right? Because, let me ask you a question, brother. You love God? You love God?
I love God. I'm trying to keep His commandments and commandments, but He also tell you, you will fall, but we're supposed to stay there. Anytime you fall, confess your sin one time.
Right.
And don't go back into it.
Don't go back into it. And what you're saying is right? Because a lot of people don't understand what the love of God is. People think that, love is just, you could go and do whatever you want and I must forgive you and thing, right?
You must forgive you. Using that.
So these 1 John 5 and 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments, So this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not grievous, meaning hard. Right? So, I know you're talking about commandments, but what commandments do you keep, brother, in order to make it into the kingdom of heaven? Because in order to make it into the kingdom, you have to believe and you have to feel and stuff. But you have to do some works. Right?
What? You have to be obedient to what you believe in.
Yeah. So what commandments do you keep as a believer? Right? What commandments do you keep?
Well, I keep the commandments that God gave us.
And what is those commandments?
Those commandments is just we gave Moses. We could follow. Now we have going on. People just come by me and tell me the commandments done away with. If the commandments done away with, but then the Lord.
Exactly.
You understand?
Right? The commandments not done away with.
That is it. People say done away with. So then that's why it have this kind of situation in the world today. Because man don't want to obey with what in the word. He put the commandments on 2 stones, we want to break it. Because of the sin of the Israelites and them. So what going on with today? We breaking the same thing. Worse than them. They didn't say no who Christ is. You will read Isaiah 1. Wait and see where Christ come from. You will understand who Christ really is. Isaiah chapter 1 tell you about Christ, chapter 1 and chapter 11, chapter 11, 1. It tell you about out of Zion, right? The comforter rod that through Jesse's stem, right? And with that rod will come in there. Who will bring forth? It bring forth David. And through David bring forth Christ, like the lineage. And Christ said, I am the branch. We are the vine, we are the branch. And that's why you have same picture, is the branch. And if you go back to Revelation 22:16, tell you say I am the root,
the offspring
of David.
Right? And they basically know everything, right?
Yeah.
But we basically don't know that a lot of people don't know that you are one of the lost sheep of Israel.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. All right.
Because once again, Christ never came unto everybody, but He came unto the lost sheep of Israel. But one last thing I'll bring to you, right? The book of John chapter 3:16, because I know that
everybody famous for that
thing, everybody think, right? John 3:16 is not talking about everybody, right?
No. John 3:16 is believe.
Who believe.
Believe in
but who really can't believe?
Yeah.
Because let me ask you a question. God love everybody? You would say God love everybody?
God love who believe.
Who believe?
Yes. You can see everybody say God love everybody, but if God love everybody, why are you doing that against God?
Well, I'll tell you what the Bible say about God loving everybody, right? So we'll go to the book of Romans, the same New Testament. This is Romans chapter 9 right? And verse 13, right? So it says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, right? But Esau have I hated. So God hate this man called Esau, right? Now I have a question, brother, right? And if you don't mind, if you think over here, so I could go here, the thing, right? So well, I understand that you have to go with it to try, right?
Well, tired.
Well, alright, right? You just scan the flyer and thing, right? And other information and thing you can basically get, right? So, right? So all praise to the Most High, that elder came to listen to the word, because once again, we had to have our loins strengthened with something, right? And all praise to the Most High that, the elder took a flyer. He was relating to some of the words that, I was saying, pertaining to the Bible and we being children of Israel, right? Because a lot of people don't believe that we are the Israelites, A lot of people don't believe that the Lord came for us. A lot of people don't believe that, the Lord is a so-called a black man, right? So all praise to the Most High that the brother was able to listen, right? And the elder, right? So continuing the topic, right? It's all about being strengthened by the words of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, right? So just starting up by the last precept I left off, I believe it was Ephesians, the 6th chapter, right? So this is Ephesians, the 6th chapter, right? And verse 12. So it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Mashiach, right? That ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, right? So we are commanded to put on the whole armor of the Lord, because really and truly, right, how can you say you're protected and you don't even read? How can you say you're protected and you don't even study, right? People think that the Passover is something carnal, you had to put blood over your doorpost. You had to make sure that, you cook the lamb not raw. You can't break the bone. People think this is some type of etiquette class or something on how you should eat lamb and all this other stuff. But it's something spiritual, right? So that is why you should put on the whole armor of the Mashiach, right? You shouldn't put on just the top half and leave your bottom half exposed, because there is a lot of people in this shoot. There are a lot of people that say they're in this shoot, but they're not in this shoot, right? That is being called lukewarm, right? Let me get a quick precept on that. Let me go to the book of Revelation, the 3rd chapter, and let me start at verse 15, right? So hopefully, Lord's willing, the elder that get the flyer, he hear the words, and he understands, and he repents through the Spirit, and he be converted, right? Because we all out here on teaching our people what to do and what we should do, right? So this is Revelation 3 and verse 15. So it says, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot, right? So the Lord knows our works. The Lord knows if we are cold or if we are hot, meaning if we're in the truth or if we're not in the truth, right? Because why some people, or what is the works of some people who aren't in the truth? Well, let's stay away from camp, right? You barely hear from them. They're not even talking the truth. They're studying on things of this world. Now, all of us have to study things of the world because, we're paying rent, we're paying taxes and all these other stuff, right? But at the end of the day, you have to give unto Caesar, and give unto the Lord, right? So, it says, so then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth, right? So, because we are lukewarm, right, or because our brother or sister is lukewarm, the Lord said he will spew you out of his mouth, right? Like spit you out of his mouth. And we know that not literal, but when you look at it, nobody keeps mucus in their mouth. Like, for example, you have a cold, right? And you clear your throat and some mucus comes out. You're not going to swallow back that coal, right? You're going to spit it out. Although mucus may be just as saliva, and you know it's inside of you and it shares the same attributes, hey, you gotta get that thing out. So it's the same thing like being in this truth. Not because you are an Israelite means that you're going to make it, right? People would say, well, yeah, as an Israelite, I done save and this and that, right? But the Lord could put you through destruction, right? So it says, let's jump down to verse 18. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. Right? So the Lord is charging us to get things in this truth. He's charging us to get our white raiment. He's charging us to get eye drops. And we know that once again, these things aren't literal. Remember, white is a symbolic of things holy. The Lord charges us to wash our garment, right? Spiritually, wash our souls, right? Stop dealing with these spirits you was dealing with back then. Stop dealing with these spirits you was dealing with last year, right? Get rid of these spirits, get rid of all of these, you know, slothful, lazy spirits, because you will be cast out, right? And people don't know, coming up to Passover, this is the ultimate sifting season. This is the season, or people would like to say unleavened season, right? Just like how you would take flour and you would sift it, the Lord is basically sifting you through the Spirit. So get yourself right, get your loins, have your loins with a girdle. Because once again, back then in the ancient world, the reason why we have to have our loins, our girdle on our loins, is because we was getting out of here, right? Let me get out in the book of Exodus, the 12th chapter, right? Everything relating to the Passover is a symbolism of getting out of here, right? Because once again, we shouldn't stay inside of here, right? Who wants to be in this place? Who wants to be in the land of their captivity, you know, where they're basically working for the lowest paying jobs, where they never had certain opportunities? And you know, a lot of people try to deny the curses and say that, oh well, brother, you could start a business, you could work and you could get yourself out of these curses and all these other stuff. But hey, you can't get yourself out of these curses unless the Lord come back, right? So this is the book Exodus 12 and verse, let's start at verse 10, right? So it says, and ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire, and thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, right? Your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste, and it is the Lord's Passover, right? So the Passover, the Lord, is to be eaten in haste, right? It's not something to, you know, you're watching a video and you know you take your time and you know you're cutting the lamb and all these other things, right? No, you're supposed to eat it in haste, right? Not to the point where, you know, you're choking on the lamb, but eat it like you're ready to come out of here. Like, for example, we all been in a place where, you know, we don't want to be. Whether I be in your friend's house, in a neighbor's house, we all been in a place where, you know, we want to come out of here. Like, you ever been to a party and you can't leave until you finish certain things, until you finish a drink, or all these other things, or an event or thing, right? You can't basically you know, eat slow, like if, you know, yeah, that is it, I eating at the Lord's Passover, just like that, right? So the point where I want to bring out, right, just like how you would be in your neighbor's house, right, and you would want to get out of there to get into your own house, right, is that same spirit you should eat of the Passover, right? So we just go and get a few more precepts and then wind down, because once again going through some bad weather here. But the next precept we'll go to is the book of 2 Thessalonians, right? So once again, I want everybody to always remember that, hey, coming up to the Passover, we had to get ourselves ready. We had to get ourselves right. So this 2 Thessalonians 2, right? And let we start at verse 2. So it says that ye be not soon shaken in mind or troubled or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as the day of Hamashiach is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Right? So don't let nobody beguile you. Don't let nobody make you think that here the day of the Lord not coming, right? An example of somebody beguiling you that the day of the Lord isn't going to come is, well, brother, why are you so relaxed? Oh, no, sorry. Why are you so tensed? Right? The day of the Lord probably 2 years from now, 10 years from now. All you need is just 10 days to repent. Right? Look at everybody in the world. They're enjoying themselves. They're going to different type of parties and all these other stuff. But you just there, you're just tense up, studying all these things. And then, lo and behold, you start slacking off. You start going these worldly events. And you're not in the street no more. Right? And I have seen with my own eyes a lot of people, slacking off and not in this truth, because once again they was beguiled. They wasn't really taking this thing serious. Right? Just like how you have an assignment to do or something to do for work, and at the end of the day, it easily there to slip your mind, and then next week comes and it be like, well, oh shucks, I had something to do for work. Right? And the day creeps up onto you, because a lot of people, the Passover crept upon them. A lot of people don't know the Passover is just basically next week Friday, April the 11th sundown. Right? So with that, I want to give all and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Right? And everybody have their loins, have a girdle on your loins. Right? So your garment don't flap everywhere. And what I mean by that is, get your spirit ready that you'll be able to get out of here, because nobody wants to stay in this land. Nobody wants to stay in the land of their captivity, right? So with that, we're going to give Shalom. All praise to the Most High.